get started, everybody, welcome to Trailer Punk Podcast. Today, I have the honor of having Ceremony Shadows with me. Amazing, amazing group. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to be on.
Cheers.
Thanks. We're happy to be talking to you.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. You got a brand new song out. Go ahead. Well, the latest song, I should say, Future Past Collapse. Tell me a little bit about that and kind of let people know what to expect going into it.
Yeah, let me start. I'm going to turn it over to Jacob because he
Okay.
has an interesting twist on this. This song has been in the brewery, if you will, for about a year. It started off as a synth instrumental song that I made, and then we decided to experiment with AI a little bit because this is obviously something that everybody talks about right now. And what we did not want to do is like have AI write the song. Because we are artists, we like making things ourselves. But we did want to kind of play around and see if we can make an AI almost like a band member and challenge the AI. Like, if you are a member of the band, how would you help us here? And I'll have Anastasia and Jacob talk about that process. But one of the interesting things that happened when I played the music, Jacob immediately said, this kind of makes me feel like a very particular song.
Oh yeah, so I related it pretty quickly to "Goodbye Horses" by Q Lazarus. It just had that sense of nostalgia that yeah, immediately attached to, and then as this is actually before we even decided to incorporate the AI factor into it. It's almost like the AI was built even out of that itself. Because yeah, for me, the song Goodbye Horses was kind of this homage to horses as technology progresses and all of a sudden we're in airplanes. And so we instantly saw that with Future Past Collapse and actually relating the AI factor to that as we enter this new humanity incorporated with machine. Tasia, you want to talk about how our experience was
I mean,
talking to AI,
it was
getting it to
important
feel.
for us to not like have the AI writing for us because AI is traditionally pretty bad at writing, in my opinion.
We learn.
Yeah, yeah,
You
it
learn
doesn't
pretty
learn.
quickly. It just kind of starts repeating and it gets a little bit, oh, it doesn't feel human, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it goes into like really obvious rhymes, and it's just like, no more rhymes than I mean it.
Yeah. I mean, we even asked it to stop writing
Yeah.
lyrics.
You can't make it stop rhyming. If you tell it, it always wants to go back.
But what we did find was just talking to it like as if it was just another collaborator in the room and just saying like these are our ideas and this is what we think about this and like what do you think about this, and then it giving its kind of opinion, and then of course we asked it how it wanted to be credited for the song.
Yeah.
If it had a specific name or anything, it just said the ChatGPT version. What was it, 5 that we were using at the time? So didn't even want to give itself a name, but that was cute.
So you gave it full credit of like, did it kind of help write
Just as
lyrics?
collaboration.
Okay.
It
And
was a collaboration.
it was a little collaboration. And did it, if I may be so bold to say, it kind of adds elements of nostalgia, which then is kind of coincide with using AI. And do you think a lot of people try to seek comfort in nostalgia as a way that technology is, vast, it's progressing so quickly? Do you think that has something to do with the song, with the fact that we as people try and be nostalgic of things that we can no longer hold on to anymore?
I think you nailed it. If you look at Gen Z, there is this retro direction that's happening where they buy like little instant cameras, like film cameras, or they buy like I think MP3 players and like right.
Well, that's interesting, but that's also like something they actually never even had. So they're
right.
trying to attach to a nostalgia that,
And
well, to
nostalgia is something you can't
learn
really
what I guess
feel
that
until
nostalgia
after the
feels
effect.
like
Yeah.
from their parents, or yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Because I mean, I got three daughters, and it's always like they're picking from things that I grew up on, and it's weird because it's like there's those balances of here's mine, but here's also my parents.
Yeah.
They're wanting to they're like, how come you didn't save this? How come you didn't save your old MP3 player? How come you didn't save your old,
Right.
trip pants from Hot Topic? How come it's just one of those things where it's
Because they fell apart.
yes, that's exactly what it was. They fell apart so easy, and
Yeah.
chains don't go well with washers and dryers. So it's
Yeah.
but yeah, it's one of those things where it just, I mean, there is that element of nostalgia or a hope of something that that they didn't get to live. But I think we kind of went through that a little bit too in the, the sort of 80, I mean, for me, it was the 80s and 90s where it was like, I fantasized about living in the 60s during the psychedelic age and, like the hippie era where it was, Grateful Dead and Woodstock. There was these elements where
Doors movie.
yes, yes,
Doors movie came out.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think they were doing that, which is it was like in the 90s, it was 20 years. And then now we're living in this thing where people are looking back at, the 80s with, Stranger Things and, even certain people bringing back, elements of old analog synthesizers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When we're trying to recapture
Video
that.
game emulation.
Yes.
Yeah, all those emulators.
Yep. Oh, it's
Yeah.
wonderful. But tell me, I'm trying to think which direction I should go. Let's go ahead and do kind of like a brief, history. If you want to start with Timo and how you kind of started the project and how everybody kind of joined in. If you want to go, here's kind of how I started making music and how I was kind of influenced to be a musician, and then find your way to Ceremony Shadows, and then you can, Anastasia or Jacob, you can kind of pick up where it kind of left off, and then how you guys came together and became a band or a group, if I should say. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I started making music when I was 15, when I was a teenager, and it all started. I had this friend who he had an electric guitar, and he played in a band, and it was just a little band, their shows would have like 5 people there, like their best friends would show up, and they'd play in a restaurant kind of thing. But I thought it was the coolest thing ever, just like playing an instrument and people wanting to hear it, and you get to pretend you're a rock star. Like when you're 15, like these are all just the things that are new and exciting. So that's kind of how I started. And I'm just going to fast forward to about 5 years ago, when I decided to, it was during the pandemic, when I decided to write an experimental ambient album, and I really got into synths in the meantime. I think guitars have been around, and there's something very unique about guitars, but I felt limited by that. So I really leaned into a lot of sound design that you can only do with synthesizers. So I put out this ambient EP, and one day I asked Anastasia to do some vocals for a track I was working on, and she did, and it turned out really well. And then she played another track to Jacob, and Jacob layered vocals into that track as well, and that turned out really well too. And before we knew it, they were official members of the band, because it's just so much better, and there's so much creative influence. It's not, they don't just bring vocals to the project. It's truly a creative collaboration, like with the story we just shared about Future Past Collapse. Like there was so much, the feedback I got from Jacob really influenced how we took the song into a certain direction. And and here we are. What do you guys want to chime in terms of like bits I left out, or sort of your perspective on how that happened?
Oh no, that happened just pretty much like that.
Okay.
Pretty great.
We can confirm.
Yeah.
And did you guys get involved in the goth scene before you started doing music, or did it kind of become just a natural collab? You know what I mean? Because Portland is way different than living in St. Louis. So tell me about that sort of scene out there. And did you just feel naturally just drawn to it? Did you kind of went from the punk to, you know what I mean? Because everybody kind of goes through that like little phases, and they finally go, okay, I feel so at home with this. Tell me about that process.
I was born goth.
They're
Beautiful. That's what I like to hear.
There was a moment where I was like, am I too old for this? And then I tried to be normie, and then I wanted to off myself about that. So I just gave up and went back to my roots.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Jacob, what was
Oh,
your
and
story there?
I mean, I kind of grew up goth too,
Mm.
but definitely then bounced around between lots of different subcultures, rave scene
Oh yeah.
in Chicago,
Oh yeah.
um, and well, lots of electronic stuff, experimental scene. Yeah, when moving to Portland, it was so awesome because the subcultures here, when I came, and actually it's right around the time when Tasia came too, around 2007, 2008. It, the music scene was thriving in all sorts of directions. So yeah, you could really splinter and be in all sorts of subcultures. But then, yeah, I've always, gosh, I kind of grew up in the industrial scene in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then, so like, as I've gotten older, industrial music and darkwave and the goth scene has all brought me back.
And that's kind of maybe a little missing part to the story where I've known both Anastasia and
Yes.
Jacob for well over a decade, just from the, let's just call it the alternative, music scene here. There's a lot of,
Yeah.
sort of dark alternative,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a really thriving scene, and we've been around these circles, and seen each
Yeah.
other out
Oh,
almost every weekend.
Yeah.
So it was kind of probably just a matter of time until we started collaborating one way or another.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tim, you talked about how you kind of got involved in music. Anastasia and Jay, how did you get in? Find that sort of creative freedom, with writing or with art or anything. Tell me about coming to that sort of terms with, where you find comfort in writing lyrics or contributing your part of music. Tell me a little bit about your creative process and how you went, okay, I feel like I'm at home being, a writer, being an artist. Tell me about that.
You want to go first, Jacob?
Okay, yeah.
If you're comfortable, if you're comfortable. I don't want to push
Oh
anything.
no, if I wasn't an artist, I'd pretty much be dead right now.
Right.
I've been That's something that I've been just pushing for my whole life. I've gone hungry for, and I'm happy to be there and be here right now where I am. Because yeah, I have been able to mostly surround myself with art making. Um, yeah, and as far as music, because I do like professionally, I have my own, yeah, art career. But in regards to music, which is slightly on the side, um, yeah, it's something that I've always been drawn to since I was, gosh, I started making music when I was 15, where it was intentional, getting a guitar at that point. Or actually, what am I saying? I even tried saxophone back in like fourth grade, third grade, and fourth grade. Yeah, yeah, that did not go well.
Everybody always kind of
But
has that primary instrument where they go, okay, I want to get involved in
yeah.
music, and it's like always like the flute or the saxophone or something. And mine
Mhm.
was always
All
percussion.
of
So
Yeah.
every single one. I'm like, I'm just gonna try everything.
yeah, definitely. So did you ever get involved in like choir or anything, or you just like, not really for me?
I tried and it didn't work out. I mean, I was in choir when I was a kid, but I think it was mandatory.
Yeah.
So I was actually very shy about like I remember when I was a little kid I would sing a lot, but at some point something happened and I became very afraid of singing
Yes.
and didn't actually start singing again until the pandemic really. And I was writing all this music and I was like, I guess I'm gonna sing to this stuff. So yeah, but been playing music. Didn't have a very much money as a kid, so I didn't have an instrument of my own until fourth grade. But I did like violin and flutes and all that stuff for the band things, but I was never good at following instructions, and I just do my own thing by ear. So
Yep, that's how I
yeah.
was. Like as a drummer, I hated reading music. Like I was not, and even when I do music, like I have my own like weird way of going, kind of keeping the notes or what. I guess tablatures kind of helped with that a
Hmm.
little bit. But now it's like I cannot read, do the whole music, reading music and shit like that. Like I just couldn't do it. So
Yeah, I couldn't either. That's why the saxophone dropped.
You really
No,
don't.
no, you
No.
don't. I learned with the guitar. Well, I learned very poorly because somebody taught me how to play Enter Sandman
Mm.
incorrectly. And
You just gotta figure it out with your ear.
Yes, there's always the like the first step when it comes to learning an instrument. It's always like Nirvana or it's Enter Sandman or Iron Man. There's always those like introductory tracks. I love hearing
Right.
everybody's different story. Yeah.
Years of flamenco guitar.
I'm like, I'm gonna
Wait.
start here. What? How bad could this go?
Well-
Actually, it's really nice. I like it.
What about your bass line? When you started doing bass?
Well, I didn't actually.
Yeah.
When I was listening to music, I was so dumb that I didn't know that bass and guitar were different things, really. And so all the parts that I'd hear in music, I would think was the guitar, and I was like, I want to play
yeah.
guitar, and I'm like, but I'm playing all the bass parts on guitar, and I'm like, I want to play bass.
Yeah, right.
But I'll play anything, I guess. Maybe well, not well, but.
When did you said you started getting into Tim, you said you started getting into synthesizers a little bit after pandemic. What kind of raised that awakening that you went, okay, this is it? Was there a certain album? Was there a act? Did it just naturally, like, being involved in the scene where you see Skinny Puppy and Nine Inch Nails and all these industrial artists using synthesizers, did that kind of influence you, or were you kind of drawn to, of course, the more ambient, like, Jean-Michel Jarre and, Tamita, all these other sort of ambient, sort of new wave artists? Tell me, or, even Aphex Twins, tell me where you kind of fell in love with synthesizers.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if I know the exact answer, but the answer I tell myself, and there's probably a lot of truth to that, is so I'm German. I grew up in Germany, and a lot of, as you know, industrial music came from there. A lot, Kraftwerk came from there, and there's this funny chart, like every band is somehow related to Kraftwerk in the end, and one of the defining characteristics of German music is it's very kind of mechanical, right? It's almost like a little bit aggressive. It's very much on the grid. And that felt at home. Like I'm just like, oh, this feels right. This is what I should be doing. And with the guitar, you solo, you jam, you're being psychedelic about it. Like the Germans don't do that. We're on the beat.
No noodling.
No noodling.
No.
So that's kind of how this went down. I kind of fell into it. I'm like, oh, this is the bed I want to sleep in, and I never left it.
That's so cool. And what was that sort of introduction? Were you kind of starting with laptops, or did you go straight into analog right at the beginning?
I do most of the composing I do in a digital audio workstation, so on a computer basically. I've got some analog gear, some analog synths, but it's just so easy to have all this stuff. Like I use a lot of analog emulations, and you can get pretty far with that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I've always been a huge fan of. A lot of people go, well, it doesn't sound the same. Well, they're getting pretty goddamn close to me. Like there's certain ones where even just free certain synthesizers, you're going, okay, this sounds really damn close. And it's actually way less expensive than having to go out and, we don't have, there was that, I like talking to a lot of artists who kind of dabbled in synthesizers. And there was this brief time where everybody got rid of their keyboards and started selling them in pawn shops. And and then people started kind of going, and buying them up. I think it was somewhere in the 90s where people started buying up these old analogs and people started getting rid of them, and then all of a sudden there was this sort of rebirth of like everybody bringing back the analog synthesizers, and I was like, I love hearing things about that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
For people discovering Ceremony Shadows for the first time, how do you usually explain what the project is?
So we call it Ritual Darkwave. And it's Darkwave first and foremost, because that's just a term that people know, and certainly I'm very comfortable with that description of what we do. I always, and when I talk to, let's say, when I had to explain it to my mom, she doesn't know what Darkwave is. So I'm like, okay, how do I explain that? So what I said is, okay, you remember New Wave? Remember like all the people with synthesizers making like fun little music? It's that, but it's dark. so that,
but they're not happy,
and they're not happy about it. So that
it actually has a positive message. It's dark sounding, but it's all positive.
Yeah,
almost all positive, not all of it.
But that's I think that's sort of the vibe, right? Does that resonate?
That resonates, sure, yeah. Other than that, like just to fulfill what you're asking, do you want to talk about the Kunstwerk?
The Gesamtkunstwerk? Oh yeah.
So, I think we should.
one of the things that's been really important to me from the get-go, even when I started my solo this thing as a solo project, um, I'm a very visual person, and I'm somebody who really integrates like all the senses. And for me to have like a really great experience as an audience member, like I need to have sort of all the senses like thought about and stimulated in just the right way. So from the get-go, I thought about things like light, like how do lights work? I thought about graphics, like what is going to be projected maybe behind me or on us, or maybe on the sides of the venue. And all these bits were just as important to me as the actual music. So we invested quite a bit of time into. We have custom lights, and every single light, yeah, every single aspect of our performance is custom programmed. So we always tell the venues, turn off the house lights. We got this. We tell them, we just want a black background, and we project things onto it and partially onto us. So it's almost like projection mapping.
Oh,
And we've worked with video artists who created these amazing video art. It's really what it is, custom made video art. So we really want people to come to our shows and experience it as, a fully integrated, Gesamtkunstwerk is the German term for it. And then what Jacob and Anastasia do on stage is that it's, in my mind, I call mini theater pieces. They're almost like each song is like a little, a play in four acts. A vignette. Yeah. So do you guys want to talk a little bit about kind of how that came to be and how you feel about it in performance?
Yeah. So like, I think, overall, everything that Timo's tried to create with the lights and everything has resonated so well with Anastasia and I, where we just connect we connect our bodies to the space, to each other, and with that we bring energy that we hope to instill as ritual within that time. And then so with that, yeah, we want to be fully integrated with the stage, each other, and in present with the audience, as much as possible, at the same time recognizing that we're within a ritual of time and space there.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
No.
Seems pretty spot on.
Yeah, I won't give away what I was going to say.
And we have dance moves.
Synchronize.
I noticed that leads me to one question. You guys tend to, when you put together a cover for your albums and your singles, you guys kind of create this sort of package where you guys got a certain photo set, you got certain color schemes, and everything. Tell me about coming together and kind of putting that together for each single, each album. It's very different, and you can kind of go for which album has which singles, and it's kind of got this amazing, like even just your guys' photos, and I'll post those where the photo shoot's got some great color to it, got some great the body poses. It's very artistic and very beautiful, if you don't mind me saying. How do you guys come together and go, this is kind of how we want to lay out our albums and kind of what we're trying to convey through this art, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Oof.
Sorry.
So first of all, thank you for noticing that,
Thank
and that's that means a lot, because we put a lot of effort into making that happen.
And we really like our photographer.
And yeah, we have amazing photographers we work with. I think the most interesting bit for me was we decided to do a photo shoot, and we had this idea of the void. That is kind of just us against this like black background. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Under the Skin. That it was a visual influence sort of when I sort of did the art direction in my head for this photo shoot. But what ended up happening, and I found this it was one of the most gratifying experiences to me as an artist, is when we went into the space with a photographer, there was a lot of improvisation happening. If for no other reason that I'm a terribly shy person, and I'm like, okay, so there is, we're basically going to be naked together, right? And,
Yes.
and we're going to be laying on top of each other in some way, and we need to like pose. And like, I don't know how to pose. I'm not a model. I have no idea how to do this. Like, I don't even want a selfie taken. I don't even do that. So there was a lot of just trusting the process and letting go.
That is the second time though too. Is that we did have a preliminary time where we
True,
got together to
yes.
kind of
Test
work
shot.
out some things a little and test shots.
Yeah.
And so we did get ready, but then when it came down to, you're right, it was like something different altogether.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about it? Because we had some ideas, right? But like so much was just a natural flow of how the shoot worked, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the time changed doing the shoot. I feel like to something it wouldn't. I mean, we spent quite a bit of time, and it felt like it went by so quick. I mean, within what the 4 hours was it 4 hours?
At least. It's
Yeah, I
probably
think-
more than that.
I
Yeah.
think it was about 4 hours that we were there together.
I think the best part was when we were all in there, and then I was like, Timo, you should pull my hair. And he's like, okay. It was a weird, awkward moment, but I was like, it's funny.
No, it's such a great picture. Like, just when I was looking through just to kind of get, and then you guys ended up sending me some promo shots. But I was kind of looking through, and I was just like, so like just taken back. Just like I'm such a fan of just great photography, great art, great color schemes, And it's just one of those things that just was like I couldn't help but just go, this is a great photo shoot. Like I was just, and most of the time you got bands that are just like. Like they're doing their thing, but this one I was just like, this is amazing. Like it just looked so beautiful. So
All about the intent.
thank you. Yeah, no, that was
Thank you.
great. Yeah.
We should give a shout out to Sinead, who was a photographer. Sinead de
sure.
I will
Beauvoir.
tag. Yeah, definitely.
Please, because she just did. I mean, without her, like
Sinead does
it was
beautiful work all
amazing.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has taken many photos of many of the bands around town here. And yeah, awesome photographer.
Is it a female or a male, Sinead?
Female.
Female. Okay. I just want to make sure. So does she have like Instagram and stuff like that? Can I post the links?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I'll send you the link.
Okay, cool. Perfect. How do you kind of combine your early ambient songs and kind of mix them in? Do you still kind of mix them in with your sets now, even with having Anastasia and Jacob in the midst of it? Do you kind of go, let's have a sort of instrumental moment? Do you still incorporate that, or you just kind of like, let's just go ahead and move on from?
It's funny you say that because that's a change we made, maybe half a year ago, 3/4 of a year ago, where most bands, right, you have a set list, and we have that too. We have our songs, we play the song, and then the song's over, and then you take your 30 seconds to like rearrange yourself, and then you play the next song. And I had this idea of wanting to have a complete flow from beginning to end. I didn't ever want the music to stop. So I created these transitions, we call them, which are sort of themes that I extracted out from songs. And then that sort of, I mixed them in, at the right moments to just have this continuous flow of music throughout. And that's where I scratch my ambient itch. The 30 seconds, that's where I can shine.
Sometimes you have the opening track.
Yeah.
Well, you do it also in individual sounds within the songs. Like
I do.
you
I
like throw
do.
a little piece of ambience behind like some of these sounds that you make.
That's why I nerd out. Yeah.
Right.
It would kind of bring that in where you're able to kind of capture, your early stuff as well as, the newer, dark wavy type songs you got going. I think that's so cool that you're able to kind of go, let's just kind of wrap this in a nice little package, nice little bow, So
thank you. It's fun to do on stage too, because there's always sort of the moment of if you don't get the mix quite right or the timing quite right, it's going to sound really off. So then I don't get bored up there.
Right. Tell me about putting together your. Is it your first debut album? Is it Ascension? When you're all together, first full length album? Tell me about getting that process together, feeling like everything's right as rain, where it's like, okay, this is our moment. Here's us. Tell me about the recording process. Tell me about, was there any pressure on you guys for having to, and just tell me about the making of that album.
Yeah, it's an interesting bit of band history is that we got booked first show. It was from a friend of mine, and he said, "Hey, do you want to open for for me at this place called the Midnight here in Portland?" And we said yes. And then I'm like, "Oh, we better like figure this out." And I think this
So we
is
only had like
when we
two
started.
songs at that
oh
point.
yeah, we had like two songs. I think Jacob, you weren't even like formally part of
I
it
think I was
somehow.
only on the one
In case
song.
you could be
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah. So we really scrambled and like it within a fairly short amount of time, we went from basically having like very little to having, a 30-minute set.
Yeah, 6
Mhm.
songs
Well,
really.
Yeah.
the other thing was we were never supposed to be a live band.
Oh,
Right.
I had only agreed to do it studio work.
just do albums, right?
Yes.
But then
Wow.
suddenly I was like, oh well, hell, I haven't played any bands in a while. Maybe I'm over hating playing in bands.
Yeah. And that is, I think that's sort of like a roundabout way of answering your question, which is these songs came together in this sort of frenzied activity and they all made sense together and they formed the core of the album. And I think we wrote another like 2 or 3 songs after that to fill up the whole album track list. But that is, to me at least, I felt like that's when the band was made and the core of what we do was made.
The big jump, yeah, forward.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys really found your element with that album. It's such a great album. I encourage everybody to check that one out. Tell me about. I like hearing backstories about that sort of first show. Tell me about going into the Midnight Club, going okay, because there's certain elements where I've done that where I go, here's my little project, and I go, wow, let me book a show. Maybe I won't get a bite, from a venue, and then all of a sudden you do, and you go, oh fuck, now I gotta. Tell me about that first show. Did you feel like you had your shit together? Were you trying to kind of scramble and, try and kind of transition everything from the studio to the live stage? Did you, include the lighting, or did that come much later? Tell me about that first show at the Midnight Club.
I'll talk a little bit about the
Yeah.
prep work, and then you guys can talk about sort of like the moment, of being
Yeah,
on
you had a
stage
lot
and the
of prep
presentation.
work
Yeah.
to jump out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Team will work really hard.
I'm a perfectionist, so I mean, I did everything in terms of the light programming and the video art and all of that. Like, I just spent, like day and night, like every free moment to get that together. And we even went and rented the venue, maybe a couple of weeks before the show because we had never been on stage as a unit. I had never tried out all this
You've
technology.
never sung live before.
You've never, right. So there was a lot of new stuff, and we're like, well, we better like practice this in an actual venue with an actual sound system, with an actual setup. And we did that, and it went fine. But yeah, why don't you guys talk about just sort of that first moment on stage, and how that felt for you guys?
Mm. Hmm.
You should go. You
Yeah.
should go.
I'm my biggest fear is singing.
Yeah.
So yeah, naturally. I don't really remember. I just did it.
Just kind of jumped right into it. Did you, I mean,
Oh.
are you kind of one of those where you get up on stage and you're kind of trying to hide behind the music, or are you kind of more, because there's certain artists that are like, they're not right out front. They kind of try and mingle in with, the whole production. Tell me about how you're
Mhm.
kind of getting comfortable with it.
Well, pretty much the more uncomfortable I am, the more I'm attacking Jacob. It's like it helps me. Like if I'm feeling like, oh my God, I'm like, I just run at Jacob.
And I just flail
I feel-
her back. Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we do a lot of action towards each other, towards the audience though too.
Mhm.
We do try to be kind of like I said before, to kind of encompass all the space. So that being within the songs like that as well, where we're within the music at moments. We're within the music or in front of the audience, directly almost putting it upon them. And then there's even moments where I feel like we do try to even bring the audience up on stage with us, metaphorically speaking. Yeah. We haven't gotten to that point yet.
Well,
Actually grabbing people and but maybe someday. But yeah, we do try to get them involved, at least within their minds and I do see that like at some of our shows, I do see people kind of almost being a little mesmerized and a little lost and then realizing what's going on. Yeah.
That's awesome. And tell me, since you're a bit of a perfectionist, I mean, believe me, I understand every bit of that. Tell me, has there ever been show flubs or something that, you know, that fell to the wayside during the show? Were you able to kind of go, let's make the best of this? You know, tell me about certain issues with shows where you kind of recovered from it, or you just went, anything that stands out, you know, in your mind about certain shows that kind of went, ugh.
I, I have a saying, every something goes wrong at every show, and that is exactly it. So, and there are so many of these incidents. I think I'll point out three very quickly. One of them was our first international festival we played in Edmonton, Canada. Soundcheck went great. This is, a pretty big deal for us. First time we're playing outside of the country, and everything was great. Soundcheck is good. Okay, we're good here. Fine. And then we go on stage, we start, and we had no monitors. So we could not hear anything at all.
He forgot to turn them on.
He forgot to turn on the monitors, the sound guy, because it turned them down right when you're done with sound check, and he just forgot to turn them back on. So we just,
Wow.
we had
It's like it's supposed to sound this bad, right?
had a through, and apparently it went just fine.
Yeah, everyone said it sounded great.
Yeah.
But
It's good.
that's like, well, you don't know at all when you're on stage what it's sounding like at that point.
Yeah.
And especially in a room like that, it was a pretty long room. So,
Yeah.
we're questioning where we're at with the delay
Mm.
that's happening of the signal. But I think we pulled through it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the funniest sort of moments was during a gig on a stage. We have these lights,
Oh yeah.
and that both of them are very kinetic on stage. They move around a lot, and it was kind of a smaller stage. And she crashed into a light, and the light is like 6 feet tall, and the whole thing started toppling.
Yeah.
And I could hear the gasps in the audience, and I'm like, why are people gasping? And I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, this thing's falling. And
Yeah.
I think, Jacob, you caught it.
I caught it.
You caught it.
I caught it, but I couldn't bring it back up until she was done doing whatever she was doing because at the same time she kept pulling on a cord down below that was kind of catching it, so that every time I let it go, she would just keep pulling it back again. So I had to hold on to it and then resettle it almost after that whole part ended, or I can't remember I think it was just the section of the song ended and you turned away.
All worked out okay. We're still here.
So,
No injuries
we have
to
fun
report.
stuff that
And my headset falls out at least 5 times every
Oh
time.
yeah, sometimes it's even like
I'm
the
like chasing the receiver
the
across
whole
the
thing
stage.
flies
Oh, God.
across the batteries explode out.
It didn't explode.
Not explode.
Oh, and then you forgot to start the track. The very
Wow, you just threw that one out there.
Oh, you have to
Hey,
embarrass
Timo,
me.
remember
Okay,
that one
okay,
time you
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
to start?
No, you had to start and
For some reason, I had it stuck in my mind that I'm gonna walk on stage and I have to wait for these two to come out for the music, to start.
Sure.
So I'm going up on stage. I'm standing there like an idiot, and I'm like, I'm waiting. They're not showing up because they thought they're waiting for the music to start.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just stand there like an idiot. The audience becomes quieter and quieter because nobody knows what's going on. And I'm just staring.
And you're frozen.
I'm starting to sweat. I'm just frozen. Because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. Is there a problem back there? And eventually at 45 seconds in, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna go.
We thought you were communicating with the sound guy about something and
it was bad.
needing to hold back or something, but
It was bad.
I don't know.
Yeah. Welcome to Making Music Live.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's definitely there should be a course on, okay, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of live issues. There's gonna be plugs that are gonna have problems. You're gonna have to deal with a shitty sound guy, or the venue not paying you and shit like that. Like there's gotta be somebody's gotta make a course to go, okay, when you decide to play live, here's the shit you're gonna have to look forward to.
Yes.
And then none of those things will happen. Something else will.
Definitely.
Oh, right. Yep. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. I think all musicians need to get together, make a list of everything that's gone on, and we all just need to chime together and just put everything that's like, okay, have this list, you know that you might have to expect something like this to happen.
Yes, this is what you signed up for.
Yes. This is for the love of art, everybody. Here we go.
Right.
So,
Right.
I love that. Let me see. Where can I jump into first? Tell me, what's your thoughts on the state of the goth scene right now? I know things in Portland are a little bit more kind of different than kind of where I'm at, like in the Midwest. Are you experiencing polarization from the scene, or is it pretty much a kind of a close knit group where there's no problems? Everybody kind of works together. It's kind of a bit more of a community. Are you guys experiencing that in Portland?
I think we're very lucky here in Portland. We have a fantastic scene. Not just goth, but also sort of adjacent, metal and rock and, alternative various flavors of that. And I think at least I feel that generally, Portland has a reputation for being kind of a community-oriented
Of course.
place. And I've found the scene generally to be really, really supportive of each other. And having said that, we're already like a very niche scene. And then as you know, like then there's like all these like factions and subdivisions, of that. So yeah, I find this fascinating actually that we're already sort of the outsiders who found each other. And then within that scene, we fractionalize ourselves a little bit. But to me, it makes it more vibrant because I view that as healthy. And as I look at people doing things a little differently and how they present or dress, the kind of music they make. And like I find that invigorating. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, I think, overall, I feel like the goth scene here is fairly open even to new people, not just to itself, but fairly open to new people even coming in and discovering themselves
Lots
there.
of baby bats.
If that's what they wish. We're lucky to have a club here that has been around for years now, and it's been a very strong Gothic club, with the coffin. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a small one out here. It's called the Crack Fox, which I think they got the name from. I'm trying to think of what BBC show it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, we have a very sort of, in St. Louis, it's not very big, broad scene, but it's very like small. And it's like, okay, we're kind of trying to kind of keep it alive out here. And I think
Right.
there's a lot of artists that I talk to that go, hey, if you feel like coming out towards the the Midwest area, if you need to make a stop before you go to Chicago, it's definitely worth checking out here. I think it's it's a good one. You talked about Portland. I'm sorry if I'm looking at my phone. I got so many questions to ask, and I kind of want to keep everything. Portland has a very rich history of experimental and dark music. How has the city shaped your sound or ethos, or if at all?
Jacob, why don't you take that one because I think you have a longer history here.
Oh, you think so?
I think so, yeah.
Making music or being out there playing music. Huh. Oh gosh. Wow. Yeah. I almost keep going back to myself as far as the city, but a part of it is that too. Like, yeah, there's inherent anarchist values here in this town that just go back through history. I think that's one thing. Like, if you're here within like and looking for subcultures in Portland, you almost have to run into it because there's liberal people out there in the world, and then there's some ultra liberal people that and they're different from each other. And sometimes they're so different that they appear conservative. So I don't know, Portland for one, let's go back to the fact that it pledges to be weird. It pledged to be weird. Over time, over this pandemic period, people question what that weirdness is exactly, and maybe have some kind of issues with it in the broader sense, just because of, say, a few bad apples out there. But yeah, like when I think of kind of the subversive nature of what Portland has been as a city, a little bit to all of America. Unfortunately, I do think like the way it was caricaturized by Hollywood hasn't really helped us as much as it could have. But yeah, I think at this point, I love this city, and it's been a lot in regards to feeling free to make the kind of music that we make. And I think the city very much leans itself towards that for most artists that come here seeking their passion.
And there's a lot of sense of collaboration. So this is something that struck me when I moved here, and you'll hear it on the album. We have guest artists on the album, like Jana from Dark Swoon. Dark Swoon is a band that's been around for quite a bit, a fantastic band. You should check them out.
Shoegaze,
Shoegaze, yeah.
electronic.
And the ease with which you can approach people, and they're excited to work on something, just for the pleasure of creating art. That struck me as something really special about this place.
Mhm.
No, that's great. And do you think, even in the past cities that you've lived in, do you think brought something with you, whether you lived in Germany, Chicago, did you feel like you kind of took something from that city and took it to Portland and go, whatever I learned from my growth process here, do you feel like or did you kind of leave that shit behind, if that makes sense?
I tried when I immigrated to the US. I'm like, well, I'm in a new place now. Things are different here, and I got to figure out how to exist within that. And then I realized that, well, I spent half my life in Germany, and I grew up there, and it forms you and shapes you, and you can't. I mean, you're just pre-programmed, and there's no way you can get rid of that. And eventually, I started to just be okay with that, and even love that about myself, and lean into that. And this is kind of ties back to what I said earlier, where the music that I heard growing up in Germany, like even techno is, it's a huge thing in Berlin. I go to Berlin a lot. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to run away from that. That is part of me. This is part of my inherent sort of musical DNA. And I try and I talk a lot to people here about Berlin. And as much as Portland has its values, it can be a little feel like a small town at times, because it is a fairly small town, fairly small city. So I try to just, talk about other fun places in the world and other scenes and other cultures, and just try to get people interested and open-minded, and maybe even travel to other places. Because I think, this is how we advance as a species, to not be afraid and not hide in our little hidey houses, and, get to know other people and get to know other places and see how things are done elsewhere.
Yeah, mixed blood.
Yes.
Mm.
Is there anything you guys want to add to that, Anastasia? I don't want to feel like I'm leaving you out. You just kind of been, kind of chiming in. Is there anything you want to add to
I
that?
just chime.
Okay.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I got
Cool. No,
distracted.
you're good. I just don't want you to feel like,
Oh, no,
So,
it's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
sure.
the cities. Oh wait,
Yeah,
but
cities. Yeah, Chicago, yeah.
we should all answer that. Yeah, I feel like
Well, I'm from Colorado, and
Yeah,
I
if
moved.
you want to add to
It
Colorado.
sucks.
Mhm.
Yeah, I moved there. The band I was in at the time was kind of like a rock band, and Colorado's scene was very much new metal at the time, and it was just not a good scene for us. So we moved to Portland because we thought maybe we'd fit in better, and we didn't. But we tried two other bands, and that still didn't work. And I was like, "Fuck bands." Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to
No, you're good. You can
words
coach.
that are human. The
No,
president
it's a
said I
it's a
should be able
punk
to say it.
podcast. We're good. So,
Oh,
so.
the pre-
But yeah,
Anywho.
so
Yeah.
Colorado, Chicago. Tell me, if you feel
Well,
like you
definitely. Yeah, Chicago. I mean, for just me personally, I feel like it's been this progression that's, yeah, it just makes a lot of sense from going from one city to another. But definitely when I was younger, it was all about I wanted to do electronic music.
Yeah.
And I did it really briefly when I was younger, but then never again. And it was hard to try to even do it. It'd be like sporadic projects here and there, but it was always easy to put together a band with people that want to drum and play guitar. And then as like yeah, as I lived longer, like that started dropping actually in the last decade more so, I feel.
And I could never find a drummer, so we were always using drum machines.
Oh my God. And yeah, I was always searching for
But all the
an
drummers were
amazing
drug addicts
drummer.
anyway.
Yeah.
At least the ones we played with.
Yeah.
Didn't show up on back time because they're all
Yeah.
stoned in
So
a bad way.
so yeah, coming to Portland, it was the most natural, and like the electronic scene is really great here. Yeah, other than just the goth scene, like we have an awesome electronic scene in many different ways, whether it's techno, or all sorts of even crazy gabber,
Hmm.
or our modular synth scene is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Tell me, you guys brought up the pandemic. What kind of effect did it have on you? And did you feel like you were able to grow from that and kind of just leave the ugh behind, you know?
I personally love the pandemic. If
Okay.
I could never leave my house again, that would be the greatest. So I know a lot of people struggled with it,
Yeah.
and had situations that were worse than mine. Mine wasn't great. I was stuck with a person that I consider a house cat,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was great.
I think I had a
I just
similar reaction where
love music.
I have all this time. I'm at home. I can't go anywhere. So let's make some music. And
Yeah.
Perfect excuse to never
you
leave the
know,
house.
it
Sorry.
kind of worked out. And then
Mhm.
on the flip side, as much of an introvert as I am, I also learned I need to be around people to thrive, even though it's hard for me. And then I kind of went, to the extreme other end. It's
Books
like,
are people.
well, if I'm going to be around
Best parts
people,
of people are in books.
right? But having a band means you're going to be around people, whether you like it or not, and that would kind of help push me in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where I've always been very much like a busybody. You know, if I've always been very active. My job, overly active. I do a factory job, so I'm constantly. And when I finally stop, then I start, getting like twitchy, and I'm like, I got to do something because then I start getting this guilt, And I think it also has to do with being a musician, or an artist as well, where you're going, I need to do something with this time, with this extra time I have.
Oh, the guilt. Yes.
Yeah, I can't let it go to waste, and it just drives you nuts. Did you go through that process being creative people going, I gotta do something, I gotta create, I can't, I love sitting watching a TV show, binge watching, going to movies, the Criterion Collection always calls my name, but it's like, God, I gotta create. Did you guys go through that process?
In the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's my life. It's every day.
Yeah, it's every day.
Pandemic and not for me. So, yeah, pandemic didn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
My life works completely backwards.
Mhm.
So when the pandemic happened, I was handed more work than I've ever had for my previous 40 plus years.
Oh,
So yeah, everyone lost their jobs during the pandemic, and I got more work than I could handle.
wow.
And so I experienced something that I didn't even understand because it was, yeah.
Did you see it as a blessing or as like, ugh?
Oh, I saw it as what it was in the end. Like it was a blessing. I mean, it did my business turned into something completely different because of the pandemic and yeah, but at the same time it was just like what is going on? Because yeah, my life tends to be backwards.
I like kind of getting involved with people's music and their sort of influences. Is there an album that is so musically rich to you that you can only kind of play occasionally just so you don't overplay it? Do you have an album like that?
Oof,
I'll do one.
please do.
108 Point Never.
Ooh.
Garden of Deletes.
Did you check
That
out
was
his
good.
new album?
Oh, no, I haven't yet.
Oh, yeah,
It's one like nowadays I won't listen to it unless I have the time
yeah.
to sit in a dark room and
Yes.
really like soak it in.
Mhm.
Because yeah, the cinematic quality of all of his stuff. And since that album like blew my mind when I first heard it, and sat down with it. But yeah, awesome, awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good. I like Live at Cine, Jeff Buckley. I think that's one of those where
Mm.
it's such a it's a long album because it's a double, but it's one of those where it's like if I just need to turn off a light, maybe light a candle, something just to kind of like get into an element. I think that's one of those albums. I always try to kind of add a little new album to that question every podcast, but Jeff Buckley's Live at Cine is a great one for sure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. You guys have any
Um,
albums that come to mind?
I don't have anything that I'm like, oh, okay, so nothing that you're specifically saying,
Sure.
but I haven't, it's not really an album, but just like pretty much every single song that this person has written except for
Yeah.
one. Sophia Izella, she's like a 20-year-old
Yeah, the
prodigy.
new one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
holy crap, she's just so amazing. Like I can't stop listening to her, and then I just dream her music, and then I'm like, I need to stop listening to this because like it's not even the genre I work in. Like, not even normally music I listen to, but it's like it's just like infecting my brain, and I love that I hate that I love it so much.
No, I
It's
get
just
that. Yeah.
she's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll throw a different twist on it. So I can't. So mine is Hospice by the Antlers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's musically, it sounds like it was recorded like in a cracker box. Like it is the worst album like sound-wise out there. But the message, the emotion is so like it's so hard for me to listen to this album. That I can do 2 songs at a time before I'm just like a mess emotionally. So that's the one for me that makes me all weird.
That's a really good one. Is there any artists that caught your ear in 2025 that you're like, this is a great album? Anything that stands out
Yeah,
on your list?
I just discovered her.
Sophia, yeah, for sure.
I love Pixel Grip. I think they've really kind of come into their own, and like they're just kicking ass right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think they came to St. Louis. I missed the show, but I'm always like, come on my podcast, let's geek out, blah blah blah. And then they did there was a live, what was it, in Chicago? They just posted it. Some radio station or some TV station, they did a live set on the full get up, all the synthesizer. I was just like, I'm like, this is amazing. Like it's finally like, the goth wave industrial. It's all finally like making its way up there, you know what I mean? Like I'm really excited to see it thriving, It's
Me too.
Yes, it's beautiful to see. Anything to stand? Oh, 2025. Any artists that stand out to you at all?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. I love everyone that we've played with. Well, especially the fest that we played with. Hallows is really awesome. Other than that, they're just such delightful people and beautiful people. I mean, I should actually say something to our scene here. We have some amazing people here,
Please do.
And yeah, we go. I mean, all 3 of us spend a lot of time in the local music scene. But between like Glory, so fantastic, and Dancing Plague, we're lucky to have in town, playing quite a bit. Other than that, gosh, some harder projects with Porta Negra. Gosh, and so many bands though too.
Sibling has been around for a long time. Light Asylum. Who else do we have? Yep. We have
V'ger going to like the electronic side of things and the modular side of things.
There's a lot of bands. I always feel like
Production Unit Zero.
I should have a list.
Arkham Sunset.
Arkham Sunset is really awesome.
Fading Signal's gonna come out with a new album. We've been around, so there's just a long list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let people know about your latest song that you just put out, and is it going to be? Is this a whole nother album coming out? Tell people what to kind of look forward to in the future.
Yeah, so we're coming out this Sunday, 1/11, January 11th. A new, I call it a mini EP. It's just 2 tracks on it. It's a new track called Predator, that will be on that, and a remix of a track Prey, done by another local artist. His name is Crib, and that's a 2-song EP that's coming out. And we are working on the follow-up album, and we're challenging ourselves to make that different and fresh and more danceable. I think I'm going to say that. And we're early in the process to conceptualize it, but we're beavering away at it.
Beaver.
And is there again, you said danceable. Are you kind of developing your relationship with the digital audio workshop? Are you kind of experimenting with new gear? Are you taking certain influences and kind of going, what can I bring to this new album? Tell me about kind of like an idea of kind of where you're coming musically when it comes to, of course, you said danceable. Is there any sort of danceable artist that you're influenced by? Was it, the other local artists that you're working with? Tell me about what's influencing this new album.
When you say dancing, then disco dancing is even a word. So we call it dark disco, the theme for the album. So we've actually been listening to disco type music and trying to bring that feeling
That's awesome.
into sort of our genre.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a disco album per se, but it's going to, it's
Disco influence.
yeah, disco influenced, but still us.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of a fun challenge for us.
That's awesome. And then, do you guys got any upcoming shows, any festivals you want to talk about? Other artists that you're going to share the stage with?
Yeah, let's talk about. We have three shows that are announced. One is coming up in early February, the Synth Fest. It's a collaboration of two promoters, Yes Music out of Seattle, and then the Coffin, which is the venue here. Yvette from the Coffin, and they are putting together a showcase, if you will. It's 8 bands from the Pacific Northwest. So we're playing that. We are very excited to open up for Ultrasun in Seattle. Another band that's just fantastic, and they're from Europe. So I look forward to chatting.
Also put together by Yes
Also
Productions.
by Yes Music. Yep. And then we're playing the Verboten Festival. It's going to be in 3 cities this year: in Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver, BC in Canada. So we're going to be playing the Seattle and Vancouver editions of that festival.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That sounds great. And I've been in contact with Ultrasun to get them on the podcast. It's one of those weird things where it's like, we're trying to find that sort of right balance where, the time zones are a little different. So it's always fun trying to go, since it's not in the US, it's like, okay, where can we find that sweet spot where it's not too late and not too early for everybody? So hopefully I can get them on. They're an incredible band. I encourage everybody to check them out.
Yeah, we're super excited about that show.
It's
also
be...
Mortal Realm is
Mortal Realm
show with us. Yeah,
I just had them on. He's such a great guy,
and he's awesome. Yeah,
he's amazing. How has Ceremony Shadows changed you personally since it's begun? And that goes for all of you.
I'm a singer now.
There you go.
There you go.
You're coming out of your shell a little bit. So
yeah.
I take beta blockers now.
Yeah, and I'm on stage now. So I also do something that is very uncomfortable for me, but you can't stand still.
Well, gosh, it's changed me. Well, it's fulfilled my music experience, I'd have to say, in ways that I hadn't had it fully fulfilled in those ways before. Between like the fullness of the show that we put out, the amount of thought and preparation that it takes, and so that's been a great experience. Yeah.
That's great. What are you chasing right now creatively that you haven't quite reached yet?
I was gonna say something dorky, but
do it.
Well, I'm actually seeking should I say this?
No,
I have this belief that if you can convince 13% of the population to choose curiosity over fear, we can change our timeline.
I think so too. I think
that's my goal, is to reach 13% of the population and be like, hey, just instead of being angry and afraid, just choose to be curious.
I love that. No, it's great because even with this podcast, it was one of those things where I dealt with a lot of anxiety, and after I quit doing shows and stuff like that, and kind of getting away from people, it was like there's something that affected me about that, and I need to crack out of the shell. I need to quit being more like an agoraphobic and start getting out there and talking with bands and artists, and I feel like I really cracked out of my shell when it came to this. So believe me, I understand.
Good job.
Yes. Yeah.
Way to face the fear.
Yes. Have to face the fear. So Timo, you got anything?
Yeah, so I think I am the worst producer, composer when it comes to writing stuff that's danceable. I think I'm absolute garbage at it. I don't think I think I have.
What was the question?
So unfulfilled goals that we have.
Unfulfilled goals.
Yeah. So I always feel like I can do so much better in that realm, and hence sort of the theme of dark disco and making something that's really danceable. That I'm very much afraid of that because I feel like I can't, and that's what I'm doing.
We got this.
Yeah. Jacob, you got anything to add?
Oh, it's necromancy for me. I'm super sad about the cats in my neighborhood. They're like, we have a lot of coyotes
Oh no!
in the neighborhood. No, the orange cat's still okay. but we have a lot of coyotes, and these cats, they turn up dead. And I mean, they make the front lawns look really bad. That's one thing.
Oh,
I'm not that kind of person, though, that complains
jeepers.
about the front lawns, but it'd be awesome to be a necromancer to bring them back to life.
Mm.
And also, it'll save the coyotes.
Isn't there
Because
that
if you could have someone per neighborhood just bringing them back to life, so they're fine the next day. The coyote got its kill.
Yeah.
Somehow you're going to have to make new body parts, but it'll happen because you're a necromancer. But then the coyotes get saved too, because now like this talk about the coyotes being bad
They're
is
not bad. They're just
awful.
hungry.
I know. So yeah, so don't go on next door is the
Don't put your
lesson.
kitty outside if you don't want
Because
to see.
the rhetoric behind the dead cats and the coyotes is just bad.
Yeah.
And it gets people hating each other, and all of a sudden people are pulling out guns out of their homes.
At the coyotes?
No, at each other, because they're bitching about
Not being
everything
good
on Nextdoor.
Next door. Next door is
So-
where all the Karens hang out.
It'd be the necromancy stuff. Yeah.
So necromancy for 2026. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're gonna need it.
I got 2 more questions and I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for your time. When someone leaves one of your shows or finishes your albums, what do you hope stays with them?
There's, and Anastasia hinted at it earlier. We really, even though we're sort of like Darkwave, we really have sort of a positive message of self-empowerment. There's a lot of terrible things in the world, and it's easy to get brought down by that and become jaded and cynical. And we
at least leave with a mantra.
Yeah, so at the very least that, and maybe even like feel like, okay, I'm having a little bit of more agency and like pick something and be able to change something about my life. Like that would be a wonderful thing for people to take away.
That's awesome. And where do you see Ceremony Shadows in the next 5 to 10 years, or hope to see?
Alive.
Necromancy will help with that for sure. So
Yeah,
Right.
we got that.
Yes.
We got that.
Yes. Hence the necromancy.
Yes.
So this is what's going on here.
Very hard. Very hard.
Mm.
that's wonderful. And
But some European travel.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I was gonna say, you guys
Gold.
plan on doing any touring? You come in, anywhere, in the U.S. Are you hoping to get to, Europe and everything like that with this?
That's the big goal. We do want to play in Europe, and that's a huge step for any band, because it's getting over there and like with the gear, that's the whole thing. But it's definitely something I would. It's a bucket list item for me. Being from there, being able to go back and play music would be awesome. So hopefully that'll work.
That's awesome. Beautiful. And I always kind of end this, it depends on, but I think it'd be great to bring up this question. Do you have any advice for anybody who looks up to your music, is just checking out this podcast just to kind of break the loneliness or break the cycle of life? What words of advice do you have for anybody who's listening in or watching?
Don't be afraid. Be
Mhm.
curious. But
Mhm.
kind of what Anastasia said earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No fear.
No fear. I think that's a good one. No fear and necromancy for
No
2020.
fear.
There was this other
No
one. I
fear.
was watching this
2026.
podcast today, and this lady was saying that you should just try to be that person that people are saying, who do they think they are?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love
Try to
it.
make as many people as possible say, who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
See if you can collect a bunch of those. Just kind of like have like a counter, and just every time you hear that, you go, just take a note and go, okay, I remember I got that one. So who do you
Yeah.
think you are? I love
Mhm.
that. You don't hear that very often, so
Well, I think it's usually not spoken. People just think it.
fair enough. Maybe more
But-
people are just keeping it inside and not.
They just need to know that they can be that too. Somebody's got to show how to do it. So it might as well be you.
Right. Get the goal of somebody being verbally going, who do you think you, I don't know, if I can get that, I think I'd be okay.
Or you get them to change. Who do you think you are to that? Who can I be?
There you go. I love
Yeah.
that. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on my podcast. I really appreciate your guys' time.
This was super
Thank
fun.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
Take care, Justin.
Yep.